Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 23 of the Two Gamer Dads podcast, a place where two little gamer dads invite cool and interesting people to chat about life. Sometimes it's about our kids, sometimes it's about games. Whatever it is, it's always interesting. I'm Ian, the host of this Emmy, Oscar, Golden Star, Golden Globes podcast. And with me, as always, is my fantastic co host, Marv. Marv, how are you
Hello.
doing?
Uh, could be better. Could be better.
You
I'm suffering
better?
from a kidney stone, so it's not a very
Oh.
good experience. Wouldn't recommend it. 0 content.
Recommend it. Okay. Anyway, as usual, we have a guest with us today, and with us is Damian. Hi, Damian.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Hey.
So maybe we just start with maybe Damian, just introduce yourself. You can decide how much you want to share, whether it is you share about your work, what you do, what your history of games, whatever you want to share, or you want to share as little as possible. That's fine too.
Well, just something brief, I guess.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. I'm a gamer from the old days. Like mid 40s now, so you can imagine how long I've been gaming. Uh, my
40
pl-
years.
my pleasure to be on today, guys. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Maybe we okay. Before I get to Marv's kidney stones, which I think is a very relevant topic, because I think it will hit some of us eventually.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe just talk a little bit about your history of games. Do you remember like what is your first interaction with games? Like what was your first game you ever remember playing?
if we're talking about video games, I guess
Yep.
my first is literally the first Super Mario Bros.
Walao, eh. That's on
Yeah.
the what system is that on? Is that
On
the first Super
first
Nintendo?
It was not even the Super Nintendo, it was the Nintendo. Uh, uncle
NES.
who
NES.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, the NES.
NES, the first NES. Oh my gosh.
My God.
Yeah. So I got an uncle who he brought it in and he worked for SIA, so like most of the time he wasn't around. So I'll just pop by my grandmother's place and I'd play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like
Oh.
literally back then, I mean, yeah, it's been wild, right?
Yeah. And how what has that progressed from? So from the first Super Mario Brothers, what is the latest game you've played or have been playing?
Latest game I've been playing. I've been stuck on Final Fantasy XIV for the
Woo!
first time. Uh, uh, I think I've been sub for like years, probably like 10, 11 years, I think at least.
Wow. Also, you've never unsubbed.
No.
Wow. Okay.
So I've just been hanging around with friends and
Yeah.
chilling. Yeah, very much.
Okay. Well, we'll talk more about it later because my Smurf and maybe some of our viewers know I'm also a FF14 gamer. Not as Lao Jiao, not as high level as you. I haven't been in the game that long. I have an on-off relationship with the game. I'll
What?
come back. I'll come back. But I mean, that's what Yoshi P wants anyway. He
Right.
doesn't want you to stay in the game. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming on. Marv, you want to share your kidney stone experience?
Wow.
Okay, wait. For those of you who are not comfortable with, or even, do you think some people even know what a kidney stone is? Because honestly, if you ask me like 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't know what a kidney stone was. Is
It's
so
like this
graphic image ahead.
hardened like a deposit in your
You
basically your urinary tract, lah, right?
yeah,
Like minerals and salts, like they combine and they form like a little stone.
like Power Rangers.
Yeah, and it hurts because it moves down your tract, right,
Yeah,
from your
to your
kidneys to your bladder, lah. So like 2 weeks ago, two Fridays ago, I had a lot of pain in the morning. Like I woke up at like 6 o'clock, and my stomach was hurting. So I thought like it's just like, oh, someone go toilet, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Then when I came back to bed, like it just got worse and worse. Yeah, and the pain,
Yeah.
right, it's just localized on like the right side,
Yeah.
the front part of my body, and it didn't go away. And it wasn't like pulsing or like, it's just constant pain. They got worse and
Oof.
worse to the point
Oof.
where I couldn't even really move. So
Yeah.
Charlene was going to go to work already. Then I was like, okay, cannot. I need to tell her. I need to tell her something. Like I couldn't even like talk properly. I just
Oh,
told her
yo.
like I need help. So she's like, okay, what do we do? Then I can see in the back of her eye, she's like thinking, should I drive him to hospital? But then she's not a very
You scared
confident
to
driver
drive.
lah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's called ambulance.
So I was like, I think call an ambulance because I was afraid that it's appendicitis.
Ah,
Yeah,
so
because
Yeah.
my mom
yeah.
had appendicitis before. Then she told me like, like you'll be in pain, you can't walk, and all that kind of thing. So so she called for the ambulance, and then as usual, like, they asked for like, is the person still conscious? Can he still talk? That kind of thing. So because I could still talk and I was still conscious, I'm not considered a priority case. So they took quite long to come. Took like 15 minutes to come.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay, to be 15 minutes is quite fast, lah.
it's quite fast. Like, but
I mean,
okay, so
it's eternity for you, but it's
because I
quite
live so
fast
near
for.
Khoo Teck, right? I live so near the hospital. I literally live like it's like a 3-minute drive away from the hospital. But
Oi.
they sent the ambulance all the way from Canberra, which is like the next town
Mm.
over.
Your Chugang area.
Yeah, Canberra is near to Sembawang.
Yeah, oh.
Yeah, so they came like when they were on the way. I was like, okay, next thing I need to do is I have to pack my bag because if I get admitted, right, I need 2 things:
Priorities.
my power bank and my Steam Deck.
I knew it.
Hashtag priorities.
So Shirley was like, "What the hell, man?" Because she saw me like hobbling, literally hobbling, like because I will walk with like I'll walk like that. Like, yeah. Then I went to my room, put my Steam Deck in my bag, checked my power bank got charged.
Charge.
Then zip my bag up, then bring it back to the sofa, and then just lie on the sofa. There, wait. Yeah. So
Yeah,
eventually they
you're-
came. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah. So eventually they came, and they brought me to the hospital, and did X-ray, ultrasound, all that, give me painkillers. So I was like, okay. The pain went away, like, because he gave me painkillers. Then the doctor was like, oh, you should pass out in like 2 weeks or so. So that was 2 weeks ago. Then last Friday, the pain came back when I was at work, and I just happened to be at Khoo Teck Puat because I was with a patient.
Oh.
And then I was like, oh my god, the pain's coming back. And I didn't bring my painkillers.
All your Steam Deck.
Yeah, all my Steam Deck. So because it was so near the home, right? And fortunately my colleague was available. So I was like, bro, can you help me to look after my patient? I'm gonna go back and grab painkillers. So I went home, I took painkillers, and then I waited for like half an hour. And it didn't get better. In fact, it got worse and worse and worse. And it got worse to the point where I puked, like I vomited. Like the pain was so bad that I vomited from the pain.
Wow.
Yeah, and all this time, right, what's going through my mind?
What?
Not the
Are you
Steam
gonna
Deck. No, not the Steam Deck, but
Yeah.
more of like, it's already so pain for me. Can't imagine what our wives go through when they deliver.
Yeah, the childbirth. Yeah.
They have hours and hours of like
It's
contractions.
a tiny stone for you.
Yeah,
It's a huge.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this really put things in perspective. Yeah, so
Yeah.
when I was puking, right, just so happened that my parents like came to my place because
Oh.
he wanted to get something. Then my mom saw me vomiting. Then she's like, okay, time for you to go to the hospital again. Yeah. So my dad sent me to the hospital, went A&E. This time it was worse. Like, the pain didn't go away until like, so it started about 10 a.m. It didn't go away until like 1 a.m. when they gave me a shot. 1 p.m. when they gave me a shot. So in the end, they gave me 2 shots. Yeah. And then did the whole thing again, like ultrasound and all that. So I told the doctor, I said, the painkillers that they gave me 2 weeks ago, cannot, CMI, not helping. Then she's like, okay, I will prescribe you stronger painkillers. Yeah, so they gave me something called Tramadol, which is pretty strong painkiller, right? Then, so that was Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday were kind of burn for me as well. Because Saturday the pain came back. I took the painkillers and then I slept because it makes you drowsy. Then Sunday the pain came back again and then I took. Yeah. So today not too bad. I still went to work, but the pain came around like lunchtime and then I took painkillers quickly. Yeah.
So the only solution is for it to really just pass out, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way.
It's not like because it's scan, right? It's not big enough that it warrants surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's bad enough that I just have to tahan and drink water, a lot of water, and just let it like eventually pass out lah.
And it's also a very painful experience when it passed out, right?
Yeah, so the funny thing is that because you have to drink a lot of water, right, to help it pass out.
Yeah.
But the more water you drink, the more painful it gets.
More
because
painful it gets.
the stone to keep moving. Yeah. Terrible, man. I never thought.
So now is it like slowly chugging along like Thomas the steam engine?
Apparently it's like going nearer and nearer to my blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh damn, that sucks.
Yeah, man.
Oh,
Okay, dude, praying for you, man.
yeah.
On that happy note, let's talk about Damian's COVID as well. Since we're on this happy, actually, honestly, I've also been sick, so we can all share our sick stories. So Damian, you had COVID last week? Was it last week?
It's actually on the 26th, and so it ended close to the middle of last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was
Uh,
it? How was your COVID experience?
Frankly, quite great.
Yeah.
Yeah, like first couple of days had fever and some chills.
Yep.
I think that was the worst part of it, lah.
Yeah.
And but it got me out of the office, and nobody really wanted to call me for anything. And I think
Nice.
like I think Marv understands, right? It's like there are very few things that will keep people from calling you, even if you're on leave or sick.
Mm.
And COVID turned out to be one of those things. It was like the best rest I've had in a very long time.
So strange, right?
Yeah,
It took a virus of global cataclysmic proportions to give you rest.
yes, exactly. I mean, I probably wouldn't wish it upon others. I know that
Yeah.
some of my friends have had it a lot worse than me.
Yeah.
But for me, it was definitely a nice experience.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
How were
So far, what's
how were your symptoms though?
fever and chills, right?
Fever and chills. I had some phlegm after I think probably from the third day onwards.
Yeah,
But it's mainly been cleared up actually.
that's good.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fast, man.
And I mean, you're triple vax, so
Yeah.
are you guys quad vax now? Is it quad vaccination now?
Yeah,
Or is it
I'm
sure?
entitled to the fourth one because healthcare, right? But I haven't
Oh,
got to take it.
I don't know what's the
Yeah.
rule, because in Japan it obviously doesn't happen.
But
Like,
they're opening already. Like the fourth jab, the bivalent jab here.
oh,
yeah,
okay.
I had priority
So,
lah, but I
yeah.
didn't want to take because I don't know about you guys, but every jab that I've taken, right, I take 2 MC after that because it just floors me.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically taking the virus
Yeah.
again. I mean, that's
And I
you're
feel
just
like
having
no more
COVID.
MC for this year, so I
Oh.
don't want to take. I'll be forced to take leave.
Oh no.
Okay. Yeah. So, on top of that, I also been sick. So my sickness, I know where I got it from.
Oh.
I got it from my daughter. So my
Oh.
daughter was very sick 2 weeks ago, and it's very strange because my daughter and when kids are sick, she was sick for a while, and then she was, so I'm okay with her being sick as long as she's okay, she's quite happy. But when kids can't sleep, and she was, after a while, right, I told Marv, her personality changed. I was like worried that something is possessing her, because
yeah.
like, it sounds very extreme, but my daughter is generally very happy. She's a very happy kid, but she became like a totally different baby all of a sudden.
Oh no.
So,
Yeah.
but
When you're sick,
after
you just
I
change.
yeah, but after I got it from her, I understood, because basically this, I don't know whatever illness this is, but it basically creates a huge congestion in your nasal area. So it like builds pressure in your head, almost like, like that feeling where you have like pressure from like ascension when you take a plane.
Yeah.
It's like that, but it doesn't give you relief. Like, you blow you do that method, right? You blow through
Yeah.
your nose, covering your nose. It doesn't work. So you just have this constant pressure in your head. So
Yeah.
when
That
when I have it, like I mean I'm an adult, so I can like suck it up, right? Or I just like try to take painkillers or whatever. But my daughter, she has no way to express herself to say Papa is pain, right? She does it by just acting out, right?
Oh.
So I can totally understand why she was that way. But okay, anyway, we're a lot better now, so
That's
thank God.
Nice, nice.
Let's move away to some happier things. So we do this usually where we just kind of talk about what we've been watching and what we've been doing. But today I thought we'll just focus a little bit more on a Star Wars theme, because Damian is also a Star Wars fan. I remember that last time we watched, that we met each other, was it watching TLJ? Was it Last Jedi? Or did we watch Rise of Skywalker together? That
Wow.
atrocious movie.
I think it was TLJ.
I think
I-
I
yeah, yeah.
So.
I think it was TLJ. I don't think we watched ROS together.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so now there have been 2 big shows in the Star Wars Cinematic Universe. One is Andor, and one is Tales of the Jedi. Let's start with Andor first. Damon, have you been watching Andor?
Unfortunately, no. It's been kind of busy year for me. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I think when you have time, you can catch up on it. But right now, it is on episode 9.
Yep.
9. And so far, okay. So Marv, do you want to just like give your Cliff Notes version to like Damian of what Endor is
Do
and
you have any idea who Endor is, Damian?
Who? No.
Cassian Andor. Did
Cassian
you watch
Andor.
Rogue One?
Oh, really?
Did you watch Rogue One? You
I
did,
did.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he's the main character. He's the one that stole the Death Star.
So
plans.
I was actually gonna do the commendations for Endor, but then
Andor.
I was like, we're gonna talk about it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, Cliff Notes TLDR. It's about the guy from Rogue One.
Yeah.
Before
And how he
obviously
joined the
before, 'cause
rebellion.
He dies in Rogue One, right? Spoiler alert. Yeah, so it's his story of how he was recruited to the rebellion and
Yeah.
what happened before, a few years before.
Yeah.
I think it's like
But
5 years or something
Yeah.
before that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also I think it's also a story of the birth of the rebellion.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main thing. That you watch not just from his perspective, but also from a lot of different characters' perspective, which we find like usually when you watch movies that have different perspectives, you have a favorite, right? Like you oh, this guy is so interesting, and then it switches to an episode, you're like, oh my gosh.
Wait, Damian, do you watch Rings of
this
Power?
did again.
I have not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Okay, that one I don't even watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't recommend.
That's Rings of Power has this problem where like there's particular characters which are incredibly boring. So when it switches to there, you're like, oh, dude,
Oh,
just go back to just go to the interesting guy. But Endor doesn't have this problem. Endor has like I would say maybe 4 or 5 perspectives.
Four kind of main plot lines.
Yeah.
The Imperials have 2, and then the Rebels
Okay.
have 2.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Mm.
And
And
they're
so it's
all
kind of
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if I were to summarize Endor, I would say it's confident. Like some people, some movies they kind of want to tell you everything because they're not confident in the script or
Right.
in the way they built the world. But Endor is very confident. It doesn't tell you much, but it will show you. And then when you see it, you can feel almost every episode. There's always there's a narrative arc where there's a tension and there's a release.
Mhm.
But then at the end of every episode, I always feel like, damn, when's the next episode coming out?
Yeah. Like, what? That's all. Give me more.
Yeah, and it's long. It's not a short move. It's not a short episode. It's like 50 minutes,
45
about
minutes.
45,
Yeah,
45 minutes.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, and my wife, who's not a huge Star Wars fan, although she has watched everything because of me, she loves it. She always asks me like on Wednesday, is Endor out?
Wow.
So that's the highest praise I can give. So I even episode 9 has been very good. And once again, cements that Andy Serkis is a great actor.
Yeah.
CGI be damned.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Andy Serkis is also in Endor, and
Alright.
he is very good in it. I think he might be my favorite, like non-canon, not non-canon, like non-main character so far. Okay, and the next one, Tales of the Jedi. So I assume, Damien, because you're so busy, you have not watched Tales of the Jedi.
Sadly.
So Tales of the Jedi is a Cliff Notes. It is basically a story of it actually just follows 2 Jedi. It's Tales of the Jedi, but it only follows 2 Jedi, and the 2 Jedi is Ahsoka and Count Dooku.
Oh, nice.
So it is basically, I would say, in following Count Dooku, it chronicles his fall. So basically, how because when you watch episode 2, where
Right.
he shows up, right, and suddenly he's Count Dooku, you're
He's
just
really
like,
bad.
wait, what a second, who are you? Where did you come from? Right, and then I mean, of course, Clone Wars kind of flesh it out a little bit, but Tales of the Jedi actually show like when he was Qui-Gon's master, and then how he basically fell from grace. It even shows how a particular Jedi master died, which I was like, what? Yeah, but anyway, and then it also chronicles, I think, 3 episodes where it shows Ahsoka and like her journey, how she even became, the place that she was born. That's the first episode. Yeah,
Oh.
but I think Tales of the Jedi is really good. It's very short. Each episode is like 15 minutes,
15
I think.
minutes, yeah, around there.
Yeah,
Wow.
because it's like 20 minutes on screen time, but the actual show is only like 15 minutes. But it's very well told. Like it's short enough that I can digest it quickly, and it's probably my favorite Star Wars animated since the Clone Wars.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alright.
Marv, what about you? What do you think about Tales?
I like it, but I wish they would expand
Stop
on
us
other
on
Jedi.
Ahsoka, is it?
Yeah.
Like Plo Koon or something, right?
As in,
Stop
I
it on
don't
Ahsoka.
mind Count Dooku because we don't have much backstory on him in
Yeah.
animation, right? As in
Yeah.
media. But
Yeah.
Ahsoka is like at this point, she's
Yeah,
story is super
overtold.
fleshed out already lah.
And she already has another series coming out just for her.
Yeah, exactly. She has a live action series, so I would like it to focus on other Jedi.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. But still huge recommendation. I mean, in total, the 6 episode takes you like less than 2 hours. It's less than a full movie for just watching all 6 episodes. So it's definitely good. Yeah. So that's our TV media roundup. Let's talk. So as usual, we do a part where we do something called Dad Commendations, and we also ask our guests to bring a recommendation. And so this is something that we recommend, whether it's a form of media like music, TV, podcast show, whatever, or maybe it's something physical, like a physical product that we recommend. I think last week Jamie recommended expandable laces, which I recently bought actually for my shoes. So thanks, Jamie. So what we're going to do now is we're going to listen to a clip of each of us has a deck recommendation, and we will kind of like play a clip of what it is, and then the other two will try to guess. So let's go in alphabetical order. So let's start with Damian's.
Yep.
Starts with D. All right. So let's play Damian's
Yeah, I'm
clip.
gonna play it. So hopefully the listeners can hear, but they should be able
Yep.
to. Lah.
It's all out of control.
Is it playing? I can't hear it. Marv, we hear nothing, by the way.
Yeah.
So you gotta
Play
tell
for
us when.
guys.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
it's
So let us
done.
know when it ends.
It's done. It's done.
Okay. So we heard it before because we don't hear it exactly on the pod, but it's obviously a song.
Yes.
So now is the recommendation the artist itself, Damian, or is it just this song?
It is actually the artist. I'm not sure. You guys want to make a guess first, or do I just...
It's okay. Let me just ask. Is it a well-known artist?
I think so actually. But for me, I
Hmm.
personally discovered them fairly recently.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's not to me, it's not metal. It doesn't sound metal enough, but it's just hard rock. I just
Right.
don't know.
idea. I have no idea.
Is it? Can you give me the first letter of the band name?
It starts with a C.
I have no. I was saying cockroaches. I don't know. What's a hard rock name? No, I don't know. Okay, tell us what is this recommendation?
So
Recommendation.
it's a Japanese rock band. It's called Cold Rain.
Colt, like COLT, like the horse.
Also COLD Rain.
Oh, okay.
Cold Rain.
Yeah.
Cold Rain.
And
Japanese band.
exactly. So they're a Japanese rock band, and the songs are all written in English. Right.
Oh, so they're
wow.
a Japanese band, but they sing in English.
Yeah, and so the clip that I gave was actually part of the opening song for, Netflix is doing anime adaptation of the manga Bastard. I'm not sure if you heard of it.
Yeah, okay.
So that's when I actually first picked up on this band.
Okay.
They also do other songs for anime.
Korudoren. That's their Japanese name. Korudoren. That is literally that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I think they've also done music for the Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
You guys watch through the season already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the first season.
I
There's only one
I
season.
introed it to Marv.
Oh, it's great. I actually caught up on it when I was COVID positive. So that
Also, you just got it. Oh, it's so good.
was
Best of friend though.
Best of friend.
Best of friend though. Oh,
So-
okay.
they're the guys who played the last battle song. You know?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Right, yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
I see.
yeah.
Okay,
Nice.
cool.
Check it out.
I have a whole list of I have a playlist on Spotify for pop rock for beginners.
Ooh.
And obviously a lot of Japanese, basically if you don't know, like in the Japanese scene, right? Like the moment you're on an anime, you shoot up the rankings.
If
Oh,
I
yeah.
did- right.
People
I know.
get famous because of anime. So like there's a very famous lady called Ado. I don't know if you know of her. Ado. She basically sang, the reason she got famous was she sang for One Piece. One of the songs for One Piece. And if you know, One Piece is like the biggest anime in Japan. So that's how she got famous. Yeah, so it's like one of those shows where like one of those things where like as long as if you get chosen as a band to either write a song or one of your songs is chosen for an anime, boom.
Yeah.
Your Spotify listening
Immediately.
instant fame.
Royalties.
So that's- I mean, like even Damian, a guy from Singapore, knew Cold Rain because of Bastard and Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, that's cool. Thanks for the recommendation. I think first music piece we've ever had. I should do that. Okay.
Okay.
Uh
Ian, your turn.
next is HI. Okay, my turn. Go ahead and play it.
In 3, 2, 1.
His wife is Peng Liyuan, a singer and a big celebrity in China. This is her on a 90s chat show.
Documentary.
Okay, so it's done
Yeah,
already.
Documentary, right?
Okay, so Mom says it's a documentary. And Damian?
Sounds very much like it, right? It's like a
Yeah.
documentary.
So my question is that what is a documentary about? Or what do you think it's about?
Oprah?
Oprah? Okay.
That would have been my guess. Yeah.
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 Okay, so obviously this is meant to throw you off. Not say it's meant to throw you off. I just wanted to give you a interesting piece because it's actually a podcast. Okay, so it's a documentary podcast.
All right.
It's called The Prince. So it's done by The Economist, Wong Sun, who's the ex-China's correspondent for The Economist, and The Prince chronicles the life of Xi Jinping. So I've been to China many times. I actually almost became a missionary to China. If I'm listening on this pod, sorry. I'm not there lah. There's no security. But basically, the story of Xi Jinping is, I think something that not many people know. And the funny thing is that not many people know even in China. Like even Chinese people don't really know his full story. So this is I think it's an 8 or 10 part episode.
Wow.
What about documentary which chronicles from where he started, his whole family background of basically he was born during the Great Leap Forward. I mean he was a kid during the Great Leap Forward. So his dad was actually a revolutionary of Mao. But during Mao's period, actually his father got sent to prison. He was also purged for 7 years. So basically for 7 years of his life. So it's very interesting how like his compatriots, because the Great Leap Forward for them was a very negative experience. But he uses it as a fuel to kind of like fuel his communist ideology. And it's just because there are some things I've never knew about Xi Jinping before until and like how Chinese politics work, how the Communist Party works, how big the Communist Party is a very, and obviously this is obviously not completely 100% impartial, right? It's written by The Economist, which is obviously not an impartial news organization. It's written by an Australian Asian who was kicked out of China. So it's obviously not impartial, but I think it has enough truths that you can get some stuff from it. And I just found it very interesting. It's interesting enough that I was hooked for it for all 10 episodes. It chronicles everything from not just the last episode is China's response to COVID, which I find very interesting because most of us have no idea what China did. We just know they closed their doors, right? We don't know anything what happened inside, or what happened in Shanghai, or what happened in Wuhan, right? But this kind of talks about it a little bit. It goes from, and it also talks about like his treatment of the Uyghur people, right? Which is human rights abuse, or whatever. But we don't actually know what's going on. So I recommend it. It's called The Prince. You can catch it on all major podcast places. The Prince.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Next one we have Marv's. Okay, so Marv's one is a totally different ballpark.
Yep. Okay, here we go.
あれが学校？お母さん、とうとう来たよ。お母さんが言ってました。逃げたら
Marvelous one is done. Is it done?
進めば2つ。
Okay,
Alright.
then.
So obviously this is an anime clip.
Obviously, it's anime.
Yeah.
So I speak Japanese. Well, I'm learning Japanese now. So the first line, 俺が学校通ったきたよ. So ore, it's kind of weird because ore is like you, but gakko is school. So I'm presuming he's talking about a school. and then like that what swooping music is like maybe like showcasing how grand this school is. So it's obviously an anime. I'm guessing it's an anime about some kind of like wizardry or superhero school.
Okay, close. I mean, you're on
I
the
don't
right
know.
track.
It could be totally wrong. I don't. Yeah.
I think Ian got a lot further than I did. I did figure there would be an anime.
Yeah.
No
But-
idea.
No idea.
Okay, I tell you
Yeah.
guys,
I mean,
it's actually the latest Mobile Suit Gundam anime.
What?
Yeah.
Seriously?
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
The Witch from Mercury. That's the title of the latest Gundam. So
Yeah.
you're right.
So was she talking about school?
It's set in a school. So
Okay.
the premise is that the main character is from Mercury. That's why it's called the Witch from Mercury. So she's attending this school where people from like Earth, people from like space and that kind of thing. As in, they're all humans, but they're born kind of like, if you guys watch The Expanse, yeah, people who are born on
Colonize different planets already.
Yeah, so they have like Spacians, they have like Mercurians, Earthlings, that kind of thing. So
Yep.
they come to this school where some of them are pilots, training to be pilots. Some of them are training to be like mechanics. It's basically a Gundam school, but it's a mobile suit school, because
Yeah.
Gundams are banned in this world. Because in this world, something like when a human pilots a Gundam, something like their nervous system or something gets wrecked.
Oh, it's like cyber psychosis.
Yeah, because they have to like interface with the Gundam and something like that.
So it's a drone. So they pilot a drone.
Correct. They're not allowed to. They're inside the Gundam, but yeah. So in this world, like Gundams are forbidden lah. So all the rest of them pilot mobile suits. Yeah.
Wait, so it's a drone, right? So they're not physically in the Gundam.
They are.
but it's not called a Gundam.
Yeah. So they are all in different mobile suits, but those mobile suits are not Gundams. So in this show, there's something called the GUND, GUND format.
GUN.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is like the system that interfaces with the nervous system lah.
Yeah.
So the whole premise of this currently what I've seen, like I've only watched like six episodes. The school revolves around like a duo system. So there's somebody who's called the holder, which is like the champion, and then people can like challenge each other to duels, and then you can stick like whatever you want to bet. Then if you win, you get that. If you lose, the other person gets whatever they want from you. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very different Gundam concept. You know, most of the Gundams that we've watched from, I don't know, the last few Gundams, but Iron Brother Orphan, even like going as far back as like Seed Destiny, right? And Double O, that kind of stuff. They're all mostly about war, right? This one is more of like different schools that belong to rich families, different houses, that belong to rich families, trying to vying for like dominance within the school. It's something like Three Emblems. Is it Three Emblems?
Yeah, Fire Emblem.
Three Houses, yeah.
Fire Emblem Three
Something like
Houses.
that,
Yeah. I think it's
but it's not bad. I think it's worth.
It's very similar. It's very similar to a book actually called Red Rising by another sci-fi book, but very similar.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
So it's quite worth watching lah. So obviously the main character pilots a Gundam.
Yeah.
That-
Can I? Yeah. Go ahead.
That nobody knows that it's a Gundam, or rather people suspect it's a Gundam, but they can't prove that it's a Gundam, because somehow when she interfaces with the Gundam, the readings
shows.
that shows that somebody's piloting a Gundam doesn't reflect in her bio
Uh,
readings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So I don't know.
Does it give her? Does it give her an advantage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
So
suspect
she's like
because
faster,
she
more.
can talk
Okay.
to the Gundam. You get it? Like talk to the Gundam. So I suspect she's
okay.
like biologically like enhanced or something like that lah. I don't know. That's my guess.
Can I just say the GUND thing that you said, GUND,
Yeah.
sounds more like the name of your kidney stone than what is in this than an anime name. But trust the Japanese to come up with funny names for their systems.
It's
Okay.
good, though. It's worth watching.
Yeah, well, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
All right. So now we've clicked. I hope that you listen to our deck recommendations. I'll definitely be adding Cold Rain into my gym playlist. So there's that. Now let's talk about FF14. Marv's thumbnail for this was that this this podcast will just be 50% of us persuading Marv to play FF14, and it might be, but I just want to ask Damian, being the I wouldn't say Lao Jiao, but what's the English word for Lao Jiao? The
But
old
The
bird.
old-timer,
That sounds
the
even.
old-timer.
That's the old timer, the most experienced one. How did you? So did you get into FF14 since 1.0?
So oddly enough, no. Wow. You want to know how I got into FF14?
So you come in during A Realm Reborn, or did you come in in 1.0?
I actually saw my brother. So my younger brother was playing 1.0. And-
Wow. 1.0.
Yeah. So I actually played FF11 in the past. We both,
Oh, okay.
and back then, I'm not sure how 11 is now. I mean, it actually is still running now.
Yeah,
It's
but I mean, isn't it on private servers only, or something like that?
I
Is it
don't
on
think so.
public? Oh, really? I don't know.
If I'm not wrong, I think that still running subs for it under Square.
Mm.
Yeah, so back then I had a pretty good experience with 11.
Yeah.
That was before, I think, that was before we really narrowed down what an MMORPG
Was yeah
Yeah, so
before WoW lah, basically.
yeah, I took a look at 14. 14 had all these drop down menus, a lot like how
Yeah.
11 used to be.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It was I actually didn't feel so bad about it at the time
Yeah.
because I came from 11, right?
Yeah.
But I remember my brother was showing me how they did crafting, and they had like a fatigue system.
Oh my gosh, they have fatigue.
They had fatigue, and the crafting was at the time very. So I'm not sure if this is right. This is basically what I remember that he told me. Told me that to craft a shirt, he had to craft like the individual buttons to stuff like that. And that was,
my god, individual button.
yeah, so that was really scary.
Yeah.
And I decided no, I'm not gonna get into that.
Okay.
It was around like I think 2010, maybe 2009, 2010, when they had a free trial. And I thought,
Yeah.
well, my brother was really trying to sell me on the game, telling me how things have changed so much,
Yeah.
and how they really fix things.
Hmm.
At the time, I wasn't really aware of how bad 1.0 was. I mean, based on the crafting, I was really
Yeah.
scared of.
Yeah.
I didn't know that my bro, he was a legacy player because you know, like from the 1.0.
Yeah. Yeah, he's rare. He has a tattoo on his back.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. I thought I would try the free trial, and actually went pretty well.
Yeah.
And since then, I just never really unsubbed.
Yeah. And last time the free trial was only to level 20, right? Or something like that.
I think maybe 30, or I can't probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
it was
yeah.
actually very enjoyable.
Yeah. So you came in during. Okay. So for the listeners who don't know what FF14 is, FF14 is a massive multiplayer online RPG similar to World of Warcraft, which is very popular, but just made by a Japanese developer. So it has very Japanese sensibilities. And what is 1.0? What is stuff? Basically, when FF14 first released, I think in 2009, I can't remember the exact date, or 2007 maybe. It was very badly received, right? Like what you said, it had very very archaic practices. So what basically Square did was that they hired a new game director. His name is Yoshida. So Yoshi P is what they call him. So basically he revamped the whole thing. And I think after a year, 2 years, I think they basically release. Yeah, they released basically it was the same name of the game, Final Fantasy XIV, just that they renamed it A Realm Reborn. And it was quite cool, right? Because they actually like had this whole scene where they showed Dalamut, like the moon. So it's the changing of the game to the new servers was actually a story event of how Dalamut, which is also Bahamut, I think, also like basically crashed into Eorzea and then like destroyed the world, and then kind of like a new world was made. And then after they shut down the servers and they created the new servers for people. So you started in ARR. The free trial was in ARR.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
At the time, the expansion that was
Heaven's Word.
Heaven's Word, right?
Well, so you played during Heaven's Word. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I first played during Heaven's Word as well. Oh, hi, Mare. So as usual, this is
Say hello.
hello, Meredith. See, okay, the moment she puts the earphones, right, she'll be quiet because she's shy.
Oh no.
Hi,
Hello.
Mare. How are you?
Hi.
Hello. Can you wave hi?
You wave at them.
She's so. Can you wave
Wave at
hi?
them. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, flying kiss. Mwah.
You say good night.
Good night. Good
night.
night. Oh, she's so
I love
Oh
you.
yeah.
Love you.
love you.
Love you. Good night.
Love you. Good night. Oh, she's so cute. This happens every podcast, by the way.
Good night. Yeah, I will.
What? She might pop out again later. Who knows? Sometimes it happens. She might show up again later. Good night. Yeah. So played during. We both played during Heaven's Word. So maybe there has been how many expansions? 5 expansions? 6 expansion? Heaven's Word. Was it Stormblood straight away?
Only 3. Yeah, 3 expansions. The Stormblood.
Heaven's Word, Stormblood. No, one more. Before Endwalker was
Shadowbringer.
Shadowbringers, and then Endwalker. So four expansions. It feels so much longer considering that WoW has like 9 expansions or 8 expansions. But yeah, so I played during Heaven's Word, and then I stopped, and I joined. And I skipped Stormblood. I played through. I played again when Shadowbringers came out, and I played again when Endwalker came out.
Yeah.
So you played for almost 11 years, and how? So okay, the thing about FF14, how would you describe FF14 to someone like Marv, who has? I mean, Marv has played before, but let's say if you want to convince someone like your brother convinced you, how would you convince them to play F14 with you?
Yeah. I don't know. I would just like invite them to join me. I mean, there's free trial, and
Yeah.
I think the game
Sounds like
itself-
Damian.
Oh yes, the copy pasta.
Yeah.
Critically acclaimed MMORPG.
I can play up to Heaven's Word for free.
Yes.
Is it up to
Heaven-
Heaven's Word for free?
Yeah, up to Heaven's Word for free.
Heaven's Word and up to level 60 for free with
Yeah.
no restrictions on playtime.
Yeah, as in you can play all the way to the end of Heaven's story, I believe.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's when it gets good, right? That's what everybody says. You know, the Realm Reborn story is horrible, but the Heaven's Word story it gets good.
Yeah, but you know, I haven't tried it myself, but they said they've been cleaning up the
The story,
yeah,
all
they're-
the fetch quests.
yeah. So they've been
Pray
like,
thee, return to the waking sands.
You mean the original Realm Reborn?
Yes.
yeah. So they've been like trying to clean up a lot of quests.
I think
because-
I think the original was like 100 over quests for just to clear a Realm Reborn. And this Final Fantasy is very different from WoW because WoW you don't need to finish the main story
yes,
to get to the end game content.
Right.
But in FF14 you need to
yes.
because that's like to them. So I would convince people by saying that firstly FF14 to me is a very classical JRPG. And if you do not enjoy JRPGs in some sense or another, I don't think you'll enjoy FF14. Because I think when the developers design the game, I think they design it with a JRPG in mind. It has a hell lot of other parts, but they're just like spokes on the wheel, right? The core of the game is still a JRPG. So if you don't like that, you're not going to enjoy
Yeah,
FF14.
there's a lot of exposition, I remember.
Yeah,
A lot
but I
of
love it.
storytelling.
I guess I also like point out that you can play every class, right?
Yes, the
Yes,
job system. So you have to like,
I think
if you
that's
want to create a
something
new
that's super
class,
nice.
you have to create a new character.
Correct.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I think it's a big selling point for me to be able to play through the game and switch classes whenever I wanted to.
So on that note, do you have every class at 90?
I actually do, believe it or not. Okay, except
Wow.
Sick.
Blue Mage, right? It's capped.
Yeah. Blue Mage is a joke class. So it's but it's a very unique class in a sense that you don't really get it through normal means,
Right.
and your spells are gained by defeating certain monsters. Yeah, you don't level up conventionally. There's no
But I think it's kind of a joke class, but you can use it to clear some of those events.
Yeah. They can, actually it's a joke class in a sense, but it's also a very exploiting class. Like there's certain content that you can clear with Blue Mage, like a group of Blue Mages much faster than regular class.
Yeah, because you learn monster abilities, and some of the
Yeah.
monster abilities are OP compared to normal monsters, and so
Yeah.
if you basically have a spell book, and if you spec your spell book right going into the dungeon,
Yeah.
then like you could probably one shot a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
So basically, the fact that you tell me you have all your classes maxed out, I was going to ask you how casual you are, but having all your classes maxed out doesn't sound very casual to me.
It is I do it in a very casual. You keeping in mind,
Yeah.
I've not unsubbed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You-
it's really very gradual, and sometimes they have all these events.
Yeah.
Where you can farm like tomes, where
Yeah. Yeah.
these currencies where you can trade for
Yep.
items, and quite frankly, I quite enjoy PvP. So leveling through PvP is pretty fun.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. So how? Okay. So Marv, you're not sure, but PvP in FF14 used to be a joke. I don't know if it's still a joke, but it used to, because the game of F14 is balanced around PvE
Yes.
primarily. It's not meant for PvP, right? And you can argue WoW is the same, but WoW is PvP. I would argue is way more engaging than PvE. Like when you play F14 PvP, you're like, what the heck is going on? How did I just die? Like, because it can be such a mess. But recently they revamped PvP. They introduced some new stuff, right? I haven't played it recently. How has it been, Damian?
My personal experience is that it was great. I know that there were downsides to the old PvP system, but I was quite alright with it. After they revamped it, they streamlined all the skills.
Yeah.
And they made it such that every class could heal itself, like by taking potions and stuff.
Okay.
It really became a factor of skill, and then they made it a lot more fun. Especially they had this thing called crystalline conflict.
Yep.
Really fast paced compared to the old PvP, right? Because
It's like 20 minutes of boredom.
yeah, and you would run around, and like you said, like there'll be so many enemies that sometimes you really don't know why you died.
Yeah.
But crystalline conflict is a 5v5, and
Oh, that's way better.
it's way better. You do get you feel that the arenas are a lot more streamlined.
Mm.
It's like you're fighting to move your flag over to the enemy space, and everything just really moves really quickly. Yeah. If you're still subbed, you should give it a try.
Yeah, I should. Although you shouldn't play FF14 for the PvP. I mean, it's good to play, but it's not the main draw. So for those who don't know, also for F14, apart from how many jobs are there? 20? No, 15? 16? There's a heck of a lot.
I really don't know. Yeah,
Because there are 5 tanks.
there are
There
tanks.
are four tanks, right? Warrior,
Four-
Dark Knight, Gunbreaker, and Paladin.
I'm gonna go with Gundam, but yes.
Yeah, and then there are because DPS is separated into range DPS, magical DPS, and melee DPS. Right? Correct? Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have healers as well. So I think there's 4 healers, right?
Four
Sage, White Mage,
Scholar,
and is there a new one? That Sage is the new one. I can't remember the last one though. You should know. You played all 4.
right, the astrology.
Oh yeah, that's one that Marv, do you remember this? They pick out cards and then they throw constellation. But there's a heck of a lot of jobs, but there's also crafting jobs, right? So there's gather disciples of the hand and disciples of the land. So there's gathering. It's the same thing as there's crafting and gathering jobs.
Yes.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about F14, which I enjoy, is that each of these disciple of the hand and land has their own storyline. So when you choose to become a fisher, right, there's this whole story through from level 1 to level 90 on what kind of fishing, and it usually has some intrigue, some betrayal, some interesting stuff inside as well, which I find very cool. That even if you want to just play the game for crafting, you can.
It is
Right.
true. I actually do find the crafting system kind of fun. It's sort of like trying to puzzle some way to get a high quality item.
Oh.
Yeah, with however your stats are limited, I guess.
Yeah. So apart from if we talk to Marv, right? Marv is coming from WoW, right? To him, endgame is raiding.
Oh dear.
Right, like because the funny thing is that when you tell someone like Marv, hey, join FF14, to him the leveling experience is not important.
Yes.
It's a means to an end.
Correct. We just want
right?
to look through the leveling and get to the end game.
But the thing about FF14 that I always tell people is that it's more the journey than the destination.
It's true, yeah.
So if you don't enjoy the journey, you have to kind of like rewire your mind, coming from a very high performing MMO that is WoW, where you're just trying to get on the cutting edge, to like enjoy the whole process. Whether that is because if you just want to zerk through to get to the end, it will feel very lame because you miss out on everything, and the end game isn't as good as whatever WoW can offer. Yeah, I would argue.
I
Yeah.
don't. I'm not a gamer. So
Yeah.
real opinion. Yeah.
So to give Marv some context, do you rate as well?
So they have things called normal rates, and there are alliance rates. So these are rates of whatever level that's supposed to be, but they're not exceptionally hard. So I do rate, but only in the normal sense.
Okay, so you don't do Savage or Ultimates, right?
Yeah. So I think that what someone like Marv would be looking forward to is exactly that.
Yeah. So I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So the thing about Savage and Ultimate, Savage is what the closest comparison I can draw to. I would say they're like your mythical rates, but it's a bit different because Ultimates is similar to Savage in difficulty, but the difference in that Ultimates has is that you have to clear it in one shot.
Right.
You have multiple levels, multiple battles to fight, but the hard thing about it is endurance, and you have to stay like consistent throughout your. If not, the moment you die, you go back to level 1 again. You have to clear the ultimate again. While Savage is like obviously there's different. It's more akin to WoW, where you have like one big boss battle, you fight for 20 minutes, and then that's it. If you clear, you clear. You don't clear, you don't clear. Yeah, rages or whatever. So I only started Savage raiding in Endwalker, but I think it's. You play on Japanese servers, right?
Right. Do you know?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't play now. Although it would be nice to play Japanese servers now because I'll have 0 ping.
Yes.
Although now with my internet, who knows? Maybe I'll still have the same level of ping. Although I would say even in Singapore, I use like a latency buffer. I use a latency program, right? I think I use something Mudfish, right? I think it's Mudfish.
Yeah.
I was only getting like 70 ping. I wasn't getting 70 ms. Yeah, I wasn't getting anything bad. Anyway, but I would say Savage raiding in Japan is quite interesting because you can go through Duty Finder,
Yes.
Party Finder. So
Right.
you actually play with pugs.
Yeah.
But then Japanese people are they have their own. So the difference between Japanese servers and American servers is that even their strategies are different for the raids. So they will have like a pre-accepted raid strategy, and before the raid starts, right, they'll just copy paste the whole raid strategy in Japanese, by the way, but it means mostly icons and stuff like that into the party chat. Then you have to sound off what's your position, like your D1, D2, damage 1, damage 2, damage 3, damage 4, and then like certain class are supposed to take certain roles. So like for example, my main is a machinist, so I'm a ranged DPS. So I'm supposed to take the more mobile roles. Yeah, because I can run. I don't need to be close to the boss when I fight, right? I can run around, pew 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 pew. Yeah. So I found Savage raiding to be like a level lower than Mythical in WoW, in the sense that you still need to do your homework, but you don't actually need to be like super duper cutting edge to clear it. Yeah.
That's heroic lah.
It's harder than heroic.
Are you sure? You haven't rated heroic in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's harder than the heroic I play in Legion.
Like for example, right, in Shadowlands, I think the Sylvanas raid, right? People can clear the first 3 of Mythic and they still cannot clear heroic Sylvanas.
Okay. So by that logic, I guess it means that definitely certain heroics for certain bosses are much harder than the Mythic.
I don't think Savage is at Mythic level. Mythic, like endgame Mythic is definitely harder than Savage, for sure.
Yeah, sure. And also, like in any good MMO, certain bosses the mechanics are much harder. So like maybe the bottom end of like P1, P2, P3, which is the starting point of Savage raiding in FF14 is maybe like heroic level, but maybe P8, P12 would be maybe the beginning level of Mythic, but maybe not the end level of Mythic. I honestly don't know. You need someone to like. But I also would say that the level of raiding in WoW and FF14 is quite the level that it demands is quite different. Yeah, because it's 8-man raiding versus how much is WoW? 20 men?
20. Yep.
Yeah. I mean that's a totally different ballgame altogether already. Yeah. So but I don't know whether we want to convince Marv to come to F14 because I haven't played F14 in a while.
Oh,
But yeah, because I stopped since before I moved to Japan. I stopped because obviously I didn't have the time to commit to playing. Now it's on 6.2. Is 6.2? 6.3?
6 like actually I can't remember the patch cycle. It's like
Yeah, but now it's on. So usually, like for those who don't know, WoW, no, WoW, F14 is on usually on like they do 5 major patches before they release the next expansion. So now they're on 6.2 or 6.3. But now I recently heard they have Island Sanctuary, right? Did they release Island Sanctuary?
oh yeah, they did.
So Island Sanctuary, Marv, is like Stardew Valley for FF14. you have your own island, right? Is it your own island?
Yeah.
You
have
can
to-
farm.
You gotta finish Endwalker to
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I would argue that you should finish. If you haven't done anything, you should at least finish the main story in FF14. That's like the main reason why you should play the game. It is one of the best JRPGs I've played. It's a slow burn because it's what 300 hours maybe
Wow.
of JRPG around there. If
Yeah,
you play
it's a
through all
lot of time.
the quests, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of time.
It is.
Yeah, you just gotta take your time, man. That's what I would say. Just take your time. 1 hour every day, and you enjoy it. What do you think? Maybe last question. What do you think is the best part about FF14 for you? What do you enjoy the most about FF14?
Actually, I quite enjoy the community. I think it's something that a lot of people enjoy about the game. The game itself is fun, but it helps to have friendly people on. I think also I really enjoy being on the Japanese service for one.
Yeah, they're way more polite.
Yeah, they are way more polite, and it's just the feel of the whole experience of being on a Japanese server on a friendly game. It really helps. Yeah. Like most of the time, if you ask what I do when I log in, I basically log in and AFK with friends.
Yeah. So it is the metaverse for you basically. It is a place for you to hang out and chill.
It's a
Sort of,
the social community lah.
Yeah.
So partly it doesn't help that my usual work hours are actually right now. So I'd be like speaking to my clients at this time. So I would have to AFK in bits and pieces here and there. It's nice also that it's kind of a theme park, so I could do whatever I want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you? So you're in are you in a guild?
I am. It's a very chill, small guild, and
it's a Singaporean guild, mostly Singapore.
it's a Southeast Asian guild.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So pretty fun, lah. I guess. On when it happens that we have enough people, we'll just do something. I think they want to do treasure hunts on the weekend. So that's when because you talk about all the gathering jobs, right?
Yeah.
And the gathering jobs can dig up 1 treasure map a day. So what you do when you go and do treasure hunts is you decipher the maps. You go in a party, usually of 8 people, and then you gamble. You take your chances, lah. Whenever you dig up a map, then you have to fight some monsters.
Yeah.
And then there's RNG on whether it allows you to open a magical portal to this place where the deeper you go, the more money you're gonna earn. Yeah. So it's actually pretty fun. Like non-competitive content, stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. I actually am in a guild as well, and the best thing about this guild that I did was that there was this one. I don't know if she's a lady. We don't ask each other's gender, but her avatar is a lady. She actually created like a 2-bit drawing, where it's like all the members of the guild in their like in their outfits that whatever they wear.
That's cool.
So I could see my character in the 2-bit. I'll go find it later and send it to you guys. It was really cool. I was like, I feel accepted. Wow, in this game, and it's different from a WoW guild where guilds are meant for raiding. Usually,
Yeah.
the guilds are purely casual in 14. Usually raiding is a static, like it's a separate kind of group. Although some guilds do raid as well, but most are casual.
I do experience most guilds as casual. I do believe there will be some very serious raid directed guilds.
Yeah.
But you can tell from the party finder sometimes that there are some people who just have a party finder open, inviting you to go to their house and chill, stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Have they changed the house system already? The lottery?
They have, but since I have a house, I actually didn't pay a lot of attention.
Yeah. That's good because last time the house system was so stupid.
Oh,
It's like it's like 24 hours when it gets sold. You have to like camp at that, and within a 24-hour period, it would be released on sale. But you didn't know when in the 24-hour period, so people would just camp at the door of the house, and just like so guilds would like send people to camp at the door, and then you have to press it. It's like fastest fingers first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
I think Pint had a video on that. Like,
Yeah. I don't know what he did, right? He got the house. Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure if it's perfectly fixed, but I guess it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's cash for FF14. We're not gonna talk about FF14 the whole time. I would say if you haven't played it but you're interested in playing an MMO, you should play it.
Yeah,
it's interesting. You can just give it a go. It's a free trial to Heaven's Word.
Yeah, guys.
Level 60, completely free, no time restrictions. Yeah. So I thought it would be fun to actually ask about. I had this one question which I wanted to ask in our previous podcast, but I thought I'd ask it here just because Damian is someone with more life experience than us. So I just wanted to ask in general. But we'll all answer this obviously. So we'll do an easy one first, which is kind of like a what if question. So the first question is if you could relearn a language, any language, so go back in time and learn it obviously we all learn English in Singapore and then Chinese is our mother tongue. But if you could relearn a language, what would it be?
Relearn a language.
Or like if the answer could also be I would learn Chinese properly.
I was gonna say that.
Oh,
I'll put more effort into learning Mandarin.
yeah, maybe I would. Like, I have enough to get by, but yeah, I do feel that I could have done a lot better. Yeah. Yeah, in I've got enough to work with my clients, but it's not. I don't feel that confident outside of conversational Mandarin.
Yeah, like you wouldn't be comfortable typing a report in Chinese, for example.
Oh God, no, yeah.
Yeah. That would be an awesome thing, right? Like if you could be confident to type it as fluently as you would in English.
Yeah, I read tons of like novels and stuff.
Yeah. Also, you do okay. So your proficiency is probably still, I would say, a step higher. If you can read light novels, I would say you're still a step higher than most Singaporeans.
Well, I'm not actually at that level. That's why I think it'll be.
You want to?
I think it'll be. Yeah. So yeah, that would be nice. If I couldn't relearn Mandarin, then it'd probably be. But Japanese. I went for Japanese classes. I didn't get very far. So.
Okay. Yeah. How about Marv?
Well, I mean, I did spend some time learning Japanese when I was younger.
Ooh.
I think if I had a chance, I would continue.
Yeah.
I learned up to, I did JLPT 5, then after that stopped.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Which is like, a year, 2 years, something like that. Because I was going for classes like once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could as someone who's studying Japanese right now, not full time, but half time, you can definitely get N5 in like 3 months actually, if you had consistent lessons every week or something like that. Yeah. I mean if you have one lesson a week, obviously N5 is like 6 months. But N5 is very base, very like it gets you like your foot in the door. You can like start to read. But actually honestly, because we all read Chinese in some form or another, we can understand characters, right?
Yeah.
It is a huge benefit because to give you some context, I am in a language school now, and my classmates are almost all non-Chinese. So I only have one other Chinese classmate. The others are from like Vietnam, Sri Lanka, India. So for them, when they see a kanji, they hate it. They hate kanji. They hate the Chinese characters, which we all hated when we were learning Chinese, right? We hated learning, but because you learn so many dang Chinese characters, it kind of seared into your brain. Now
Yeah.
you look at it, you're like, oh, this is easy. I mean, it's the kanji is different. It is a bit different, but the gist is there,
Yeah.
So we have we have a huge leg up in that.
Yeah.
If I could learn obviously I would. My first choice is to learn Chinese properly. I would. I hated Chinese. I'm an AC boy, so I hated Chinese. But it's funny because I went to China so many times after that. After I graduated, I was like, oh, shucks, I wish I could speak Chinese way better. But I think I will learn Spanish. Yeah, because I think there was this like in terms of like population of people who can what language they speak. I mean, English is obviously the most popular second language in the world, most used language in the world. But I think apart from Chinese, I think Spanish is used by like majority of the world's population after like the next most popular language.
Ooh.
Yeah, Spanish because it's used by a lot of South America, most of Brazil, and Spain itself. So I might try that. Yeah. Okay. Then now is a more serious question. This one takes a bit of thinking, so do take your time to think about it.
Oh boy.
It's similar, and if you could change the trajectory of your life at any one point, what would you have done differently? So this is a very open-ended question. It can be like anywhere from like, okay, maybe don't talk about marriage, lah. Let's not go into that. let's not open a can of worms. Your wife, Marv, our wives are listening. So let's see my wife is right. So, but it can be anything from like maybe choosing to study overseas or something. I don't know.
Wow.
I have one.
Oh, okay.
I say this a lot to some like my interns that come along when they
Yeah,
when they
go
accompany me. If I had a choice, I would redo like going the arts route in uni, or at least study
A hard
math and
science.
science a bit harder when I was in secondary school. Because when I went to JC, I did arts. I didn't do science. Yeah, then obviously it led me down this path to psychology and now as a counselor, right? Yeah, but I do think sometimes like, what would my life be? How different would it be if I had gone the more science and math route?
What do you think you would have done if you? I mean, what do you think you would have chosen if you went to the science route?
I don't know. That's the thing, because I don't enjoy math. I don't enjoy science. I hated math.
Okay,
Yeah.
but this is more of a job choice issue.
I think more of a career choice. Because if I didn't do arts, right? I probably wouldn't do psychology, and then I'll be in something totally different, like unrelated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, in your profession, right? Are there even people with arts and science, with science backgrounds in your profession, or do they only accept? The reason I ask this is because like it's arts. Obviously, an arts degree is less, to me, in my mind, it's less flexible because when you like an engineering job will not hire someone from an arts background, right? Because it's a hard science, right? But a business, like for example, if you want to do a business like thing, right? They will hire someone from a science background as well. So that's what I'm asking you. Is it because you feel like a science background is more flexible, gives you more options?
Not really. It's more of okay. So for me, is what I always tell my interns is that if you choose to go down this route, like the social service route, you have to accept that your financial health in the coming years or forever even may never be very good.
Yeah, it's a bronze rice bowl.
Yeah. So like it's true that like we are in demand. Like for me, I'm a counselor, right? It's easy to get a job, but it's hard to be paid well because most places don't pay very well compared to other professions, lah. Yeah. So that's one thing I always tell my interns, like you have to accept that this job, to use the P word, passion, you need to have it, lah. I hate the word, but it is true to a certain extent. Yeah, because passion cannot eat one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Passion really cannot eat one. Yeah.
For every organization who cannot pay you very well.
Then they'll all
Yeah.
say, "Oh, you work in this field line, you must have passion. Cannot think about the money." So I mean, when you're younger, you like let's say when you are going to uni or you're poly,
Mm.
you don't really think about that so far,
Yeah.
right? So far ahead. Not many people will think that far ahead. I'm sure some people will. Yeah, but it's kind of like you get into it, then you realize, oh no. So
Mm.
for
Yeah.
example, sorry, Damon. Like,
Oh,
I'll
no,
just give an
please.
example. Like, I think starting pay for like a counselor or somebody with a psych degree in a psych related field is like barely 3,000 now.
Yeah.
When we
Right.
started, Damien, when we started, it was like 2004,
Oh,
2002.
yes, I
Yeah.
remember those.
Whereas our peers in like engineering, law, business, and all that, whatever,
3.5, 4.
earning, I remember my cousin that told me he's like earning 6,500 when he was interning.
That's law lah.
Yeah, so
That's law lah, different. Yeah.
so it hurts, like it hurts. And I think it really, really struck me when I started a family, when I married.
Mm,
Wife.
yeah.
Then it really
Yeah.
made it very clear to me, like there's a lot of comforts that come from money, even though a lot of people say, oh, money cannot buy happiness, but money can buy you comfort.
That's true.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I'm getting the sense it's not just about yourself, right? Because it's when you start a family that you realize that maybe it's a bit harder to give your family the things that you want to give them.
Correct. Like you want to give them financial security, you want to give them comfort, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
don't want to spoil your kid, but you want to make sure like you don't have any worries, to provide for them, to give them a comfortable life. Yeah.
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 No, that's fair.
So maybe on just to continue this a little bit further, you mentioned that you obviously don't have any like passion for like sciences and math and that kind of thing. But if you could do you have a dream job in mind, or are you in your dream job now?
Do you have a particular job?
I enjoy my job a lot. Like I would say studying psychology and working in a psych related field, mental health field is really something that I wanted to do lah.
Mm.
Yeah. But it's more of like now that I have a family and more responsibilities, I feel like being able to enjoy what you're doing is not as important as being able to provide for your family.
That's fair.
Yeah, like I would, if I could do it again, I would work in a higher paying job that I don't enjoy as much, but have more financial security.
But what if the trade-off is time with your family?
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about like all things equal, 8 to 5
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Like I'll trade off enjoyment for more financial security.
For sure. Yeah. But your current job also gives you a lot of flexibility with time with your family.
It does.
Which is a huge plus.
Correct.
Yeah. So there is that. Okay. What about Damian? What about you?
Oh, okay. I was pretty sure my answer is gonna be that I wouldn't change a thing.
Which is great. I mean, that's fine.
Right. Marv makes a very good point because job wise, he and I are not that far apart. I do find that it's sometimes very troubling because employers all want someone with passion. But 90% of the time it's just this code word, and what they're trying to say is that they can't pay you as much as you should be paid. It's a very unfortunate thing in our industry. So we're in the social services. It's unfortunate because I think there are a lot of people who, because of passion, are willing to accept less than what they're worth, and so the industry as a whole, we're not that well paid, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we're just social services. If you look at like medicine, and you remember when everybody was really really supportive of the nurses during COVID. Yeah, but you got to translate that into something, because if you're working long hours and there's some sacrifice somewhere, right? And if you're not getting a fair shake, then I guess it is pretty hard to just talk about passion all the time. Yeah. And the odd thing is that you actually need these people. Right? Remember like during the circuit breaker, and we were talking about all these frontline workers, and say, oh yeah, they're keeping the rest of us afloat. But it was all just words. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
I think my answer to the question is still probably I wouldn't change a thing.
Wow.
Yeah,
Hmm.
if I could have very much the life I have now, but maybe if I was a bit better paid, or
That would be ideal. Yeah.
yeah, that would be ideal.
Mm.
I think that the concern on why I wouldn't, what worries me when I say, well, if I could change the trajectory of my life is, would I still be the same person? Would, like how would, it's the butterfly effect and how that would
Yeah.
change other parts
Yeah,
of
yeah, for sure. For sure.
But yeah, I mean, I think being better paid would be nice. Oh my god, what if my bosses are watching this? Please remember this. Yeah,
Maybe they might not. I don't think they will.
They,
But
they should watch this.
yeah, they should. They should. I think that's the thing, right? Because yeah, I've worked with Marv before, and I think that he's a very good worker. And we came up together, so it's kind of weird if you're not getting a fair shake. I think
yeah.
it's not just our industry. I'm sure all of us know colleagues or ex-colleagues who were doing a lot worse than we were, right? And
Yeah.
they're getting the same pay.
Yeah.
So I think there's a need for better recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think our society is in general not fair, right? Because it's weird, right? We live in a society where certain jobs which don't provide value to society as much as we think,
Right.
don't remuneration is not equal to society contribution. Let's just put it that way,
Societal value.
right? So
Yeah.
that it's like actors and actresses, right? What actual societal value do they provide
Right.
other than entertainment? But
Right.
they're paid like what,
Like your
exponentially
hedge
more.
fund manager is earning 20,000 a month.
Yeah,
But the
Yeah,
counselor
right.
is like earning 3,000 a month. Or the social
yeah,
worker
or
or the
even
nurse.
talk about
teacher.
your garbage collectors, which provide, I would argue, a fundamentally more important service, right?
Yes.
Because they directly affect your life, but they are
Right.
paid like peanuts, right? They're getting paid nothing to do. Yeah, I don't think they call them garbage men. They call it like sewage, not waste disposal operators. I don't know what they call it nowadays.
Asian engineer.
Yeah, yeah, but I think that's the unfairness of the world we live in,
It's true.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I think my answer would kind of be almost the same as Damian. I don't know if you guys know this, but actually when I was, I've always wanted to be a doctor.
Ooh.
I didn't because I was scared of blood.
Oh,
I was afraid of blood. Although, like, I'm always very squeamish. So, like, Marv noticed, I hate horror games. I hate gore in general. I don't watch any movies with gore, which to me seems like it seems like a fundamental flaw in the doctor. Like, you imagine kind of a broken arm, and your doctor's like, ew, go away. I don't want to deal with this. You don't
blood
really
pain,
trust
pain.
them. Yeah. Although my wife, who is a nurse, says that, like, she doesn't like gore either. But like when you're a nurse, it's different. Like there's like she has nurse mode. Like when she's at work, she's like when she sees a big injury, like she's immediately like, okay, she's like, let's get it fixed. How do we treat it? But then when she's watching it on the show, she's like, ugh, this gross. She's like, I was like, why are you gross by this? You see this like at work? Oh, that's nurse mode. This is like normal mode, Marianne mode. So, but then at the same time, my wife always tells me that he's happy I'm not a doctor, just because we in Singapore doctors are, yes, they are paid well, but they're also ridiculously overworked in general. I mean,
Wow.
unless you reach that stage where you have a private practice, then you rake in like $12,000 just by having a GP. Just close your eyes and then look, and I have $12,000 in my bank account. That's after paying all your nurses and everything. Yeah, that's different lah. In Singapore, it's different. But I think it. Aside from that, I would have committed myself to a sport more seriously when I was younger. So Singapore is quite into like sports and like CCAs and stuff like that. But I played a lot of sports when I was young, but I was never like really good at one of them. And it's like kind of like the counter Japanese argument where like Japanese people are well known for like just like ishokenme one thing, and like they devote their whole life to that one thing, whether it's go ahead, whether it's like making ramen or like something very asinine, like I don't know, like what's that bonsai trees.
Oh,
right, like it seems, but I think there is something special about being an expert at something.
that's fair.
Yeah, like being I'm. It's like I feel like at this point I'm a jack of all trades. I'm good at a lot of things, but I'm not great at one thing.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think I would like to be. I mean, it's not too late, I guess, but that's what they always say. It's not too late, but for sports, it definitely is too late.
Yeah.
there is a shelf life for sports. So I guess that would be mine.
Are you talking about sports? Like, are you saying you would have wanted a different kind of career, like something in sports?
Probably not. I mean, I'm a personal trainer as well. I'm a CrossFit coach as well now. My job is kind of weird because I'm a missionary now, but missionary is more like yes, it's my main job, but at the same time, missionaries can commit themselves differently, right? There are different ways to be missionaries, whether that is through like physically planting churches, but there's also such thing as sports ministries, right? So I'll give you an example. Like in Japan, right, the way you do sports ministry in Japan, like sports evangelism, whatever you call it, in like Philippines and Japan is different, right? Because in Philippines, you can build a basketball court and you have your sports ministry there. Like 200 people will flock to your basketball court to play it, right? That's because their resources are low, right? So if you can build and provide them a physical space and training, it's easy to build a base and easy to talk to people and to build a church, basically. But in Japan, that's not the case. Japan is very good at sports, like arguably the best in Asia, right? Japan, Korea, China, arguably the best in Asia. Their sports programs are great. So you can't offer that. You can't just build something and be, hey, look, I have this. They're like, whatever you have, they probably have better. Right. So what can you offer them? What's your value proposition that you can offer them? So either you be jozu, like you'll be so good that they have. So there are also people here who have built like a whole soccer academy where they actually bring in coaches from Brazil and ex-players from the Brazilian soccer team. So that's a value proposition, right? Yeah. Because you're saying I have Brazilian national coaches and players who will teach you how to play soccer.
That's big,
right? Football, and that's different. So that's a great value proposition. So it's just something that I don't think I would use. I don't think I'll get into sports as a career, but there will certainly be things that I could use now in my ministry if I was an expert in something.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, that's rough though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. You can still do ministry. You just cannot go to the highest levels, right?
Yeah.
You just can't go to the highest levels. Maybe you do something on like the primary, secondary level, but you can't go to like the national level anymore, which is where you might gain recognition, for example. Yeah. So that's mine. Since Marv is not back, let's talk about fantasy because it's something that Marv isn't that interested about.
What?
I mean, he is interested in fantasy, but I don't think he's not a fantasy book reader per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does get pretty hard the longer years you get, right? Because you've got your job and everything all right?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
You got your job and I guess you got your family. I think my job is very similar to his. And so it's not really easy to manage your time sometimes. Like emergencies happening everywhere. So but yeah.
Okay. So maybe on fantasy, what was the last fantasy book you've read?
Wow. Yeesh. Last fantasy book I've read.
Mark can answer this as well. I think he has to think very hard. What's the last fantasy book he's read?
Like the last fantasy fiction book I've read.
Long.
It's been a while, man.
I remember mine.
What is yours? I mean, yours Star Wars?
No.
It's just
talking about fantasy, not sci-fi.
Yeah. Not sci-fi, right? But I mean, yeah.
Guess lah.
Don't tell me it's like the Belgariad or something.
No, it's a famous TV series now.
Is it Game of Thrones?
Yeah, Game of Thrones is the last one I read.
So you're still waiting on Winds of Winter.
So I've literally watched. I think I read the last book. I don't know when it came out lah, which is like what, 10 years ago.
Is it 10 years already? I don't know.
What was before?
I- Dance of is it Dance of Dragons? I can't remember. Yeah.
Check.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Wow.
Dance of
Sort of,
Dragons.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it came out in
And that's
2011.
it. Yeah.
So I
So
read it when it
about
came
11
out.
years.
And then I'm still waiting for Winter.
Yeah. Wait, long, bro. He's just rolling in the dough now. His fat body rolling in the dough.
Oh yes. Gonna take his
Uh,
time. Another big gamble. Like
yeah.
waiting for like when I was waiting for Robert Jordan to like pump out his last few books.
Yeah. I mean,
Or
he due to no fault of his own, he
Yes.
couldn't finish it.
yeah.
So Marv, he died lah, basically.
yes.
Yeah.
Robert
Then
Jordan died. So
Sanderson finished.
yeah.
Yeah.
Finish his books.
We got to catch up with that. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantasy. So I guess it's between one or two books. Like the last book that I finished was something called Darkening Skies, and it was more
Wow.
of a cultivation fantasy kind of thing.
Yep.
There was another one that it had a great premise. I think it was called The Brightest Shadow. But I actually got really busy before I could get into that. I think that was
Okay.
the last one I actually tried. The premise was
It's a Sarah Lynn book. Okay.
right. So have you read?
No, I've not read Bright Shadow, but I know of Sarah Lynn. She's quite a famous, she's quite a well-known cultivation author as well.
Right. So the concept for this was you know how you always have like the destined hero.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's this trope, right? But I think in this universe, the
Yeah.
destined hero is an asshole. He's virtually a villain, and so it's told through the eyes of the innocents, right?
Oh.
Yeah, and so the brightest shadow is actually it's the main character of what, like the main hero of this series.
Yeah.
But they go around doing all sorts of like technically
That's things.
evil things. And it's told from the point of the innocent populace, and they can't help themselves because since this is the
Yes.
destined hero, you can't
Yeah.
help but adore them, you see.
He has plot armor.
Yeah, yes, armor. I really
that's
very far into
yeah.
that. I thought it was very
Yeah.
interesting.
That's a very it's a great trope. So that's the thing about fantasy, new fantasy nowadays, because high fantasy is boring. As if high fantasy is very, I mean, there are still authors who write high fantasy, but you have to be very good at it because people have already, people have eroded that high fantasy trope for too long already. So you have to be like maybe on the Brandon Sanderson level where you can write very intricate worlds and very interesting characters to talk about high fantasy. Right, but so recently people have been finding ways to like invert tropes. So like you said, this is one of them. I actually introduced one to Marv, the other one. Have you heard of Beware of Chicken?
No, I have not.
So you can go check it out. Beware of Chicken is actually another fantasy novel where it inverts. Basically, this guy, he gets reincarnated. He's an isekai novel, right? He gets reincarnated in this world, but he wants nothing to do with martial arts. So he decides to become a farmer instead. But through his farming techniques, he actually unknowingly becomes like this giant, huge master. So much so that even the chicken that he breeds becomes this like high level rooster who is like it's like a spirit beast basically. Like so, it tells it from it always talks from the perspective of the people around him. So like his spirit beast, the pets in his farm become like spirit beasts because they've been elevated by his chi. It's just interesting because it's a trope, right? It's this destined hero thing, but kind of like told from the story of his pigs and his cat. Yeah. So I think before we move on from the fantasy, I just want to say that you like cultivation fantasy, right?
I do. I don't spend enough time on it as I would like. It's been quite interesting because it is fantasy, and the idea of cultivation is kind of built into a lot of the games that we play, right? It's like
it's an RPG mechanic.
Yeah, so it's very easy to communicate the assumptions of whatever world that you're in if you're doing cultivation fantasy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marv, can I just ask you guys, did you guys ever watch cultivation? Because cultivation obviously has Chinese roots, right? It's that whole like
Yeah.
that whole chi. So do you guys ever watch it? When you guys were young, did you ever watch the whole Jin Yong novels? 天龙八部, 心雕侠侣. Were you guys ever into that whole cultivation thing?
I let Marv.
No,
Nope.
Marv never.
Never
Really?
watched
Not-
or read anything. The
Oh,
only
you never
thing
watched,
that I
like,
watched
Legend
was
of
Condor Heroes, the Channel 8.
Yeah lah, that's
Fan
Sendao
Mall,
Xiaoyu lah.
and
Legend
that's
of the
the only
Thunder
thing that
Heroes.
I've ever watched.
Oh
Yeah.
no, gosh.
I don't know
Oh.
anything else. Yeah.
Oh no.
I watched a lot of that, but it also, as it turned out, like I think as a youth, I watched a lot of these shows. I
Yeah.
never really picked which show I was watching. It's whatever drama series was on at the time.
Yeah,
And it happens that I just watched different versions of the
the same one.
yeah.
Sendao Xiaoyu. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's always been something that was quite interesting to me because the assumptions of that world are very different from Western fantasy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it's always been kind of interesting to see
Yeah.
the Eastern tropes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I have.
Yeah. I mean, it's all very like Sendao Xiaoyu is like, this main hero, he's very weak. He falls into this well. He finds this secret manual that the whole Wuling world has been trying to find, but somehow he found. He comes out, he knows all these secret martial arts that can kick everybody's butts. That's a very Chinese wuxia kind of show. But you'll be surprised at how much money there is in Chinese wuxia. When you actually go to China, every year they pump out new renditions of these series. So Jin Yong is a novelist. He writes all these like 天龙八部, 神雕侠侣, Legend of Condor Heroes, the 18 Dragon Palms, all these different stories that exist in his world, and they basically just recycle his work. They basically have new actors, and it's like $1 billion industry in China that we never watch.
People doing the Hanfu tourism too, right? Like you go up to a place, a picturesque place, and then you could rent all the period
Period pieces.
and then you could like just try to play out your fantasy, and people take photos, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Actually, the whole thing is quite money spinner, right? Because that's why I think that's why a lot of people are getting into cultivation fantasy writing.
Yeah.
It used to be. It used to be a lot of the Asians who were writing it, and now you got
Western authors are.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah. So let's go to our final topic. So we're gonna close this up pretty soon.
Yeah,
Let's talk about Japan. So we've mentioned Japan a bit recently because of Korudoren and the Mobile Suit Gundam anime and some other stuff. But recently Japan has opened its borders. I think it opened in October, just only like a month ago. To be fair, I've not seen much tourists, but I live in Sendai, so maybe that's not a touristy place at all. Maybe in Tokyo, it's full of people now.
Yeah, maybe.
But I just wanted to maybe just like give people so Damian, have you been to Japan?
I have really long ago, so long that I really can't remember what I'm supposed to. I was at Tokyo and I spent a lot of time just traveling to all the different touristy spots around there. Like all the temples and stuff. Went to the parks to see people cosplaying on the weekend. It's been at least years.
20 years? 20 more years? 20 years?
I think less than 20, but more than 10.
Okay. Then Marv's last trip was also to Tokyo?
2019, I think in
just before COVID hit.
July or something.
Wow.
I went
Lucky.
to Hokkaido lah. I went to Tokyo, Hokkaido.
Oh yeah.
Can't remember where else, but yeah, that was my last trip.
Yeah. So I think I mean now I live in Sendai, so I don't want to say I'm the expert of Japan. I'm more of an expert than most people now because I live here. But I think one thing I've lived here for almost 6 months. One thing I realized in Japan is that the seasons matter. What you can and cannot do really depends on the season. So I think because for most Singaporeans who travel to Japan, they usually go to the big cities only. Right? They usually go to Osaka, Kyoto, Tokyo, maybe Nagoya and Sapporo if they go to Hokkaido. And in big cities, you don't really care about seasons, right? Because it's a city, right? Most of the things that you want to do, you can do it anyway. The only exception is, maybe for certain temples, they're closed in winter or whatever. Or maybe if you want to ski in Hokkaido, then you have to go in winter. But one thing I've come to realize is that in Japan, Japanese people have I wouldn't say it's a set of rules, but they know that for each season that you're supposed to do certain things. Right. So I give you guys an example. So like now it's fall. Now it's autumn. Aki, right? And obviously I've never experienced fall in its entirety. Maybe you can go to a country for a while and experience it for a week or two. But it's different from living in the country.
Yep.
But one thing that is very famous in Japan is something called koyo, which is that when your leaves turn red. So it's literally like hong hua in Chinese, but it's koyo in kanji. And this season where everything's is quite pretty. So like even outside my house, like if I look up the mountain right outside my house, you can see like a huge patch of like red, yellow, green. Right. But of course they are famous. So people will literally travel to different places to go and watch koyo. So like Aki, the autumn season, is known for seeing these places and for hiking. So if you love hiking, come to Japan in autumn. Right. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because Marv is coming to Japan in February.
Yep. End of Feb.
So February is still
winter, right?
Winter. It's still winter. Winter is ending. So it's like kind of, I would say the end of seasons, between seasons is not, I would say it's not the best time to visit Japan, because usually the best times to do things are in the middle of the season. Right. So like let's say you want to go to the beach. Obviously you go during summer, right?
Yeah.
So that's like June, July, like maybe July, August is good. June might be still a bit cold, but July, August is great. But then when you hit September, it starts to get cold. So like you don't want to go to the beach when it's like 18 degrees. Right? Like you walk around like half naked and you're just like shivering to you. Yeah. So I haven't experienced Japan in February. But like, for example, I would tell someone like, oh, if you come in February, can you go ski? Not really. The snow is kind of hard by then. It's not really enjoyable. You probably can, but it's probably not that enjoyable. Yeah. So I think that's the one thing I'll tell people when you come to Japan. Try to come in the middle of the season. So like even sakura, right? Cherry blossom season is like in the middle of spring. It's like April, end of March, April period. So it's a great time to come. Yeah. So Marv is going to Osaka, Kyoto first, right?
When I land, I'm going straight to Osaka.
And are you going straight to Harukoma?
I don't know, man. Probably not. But I definitely want to go to Harukoma.
Is it even open? Do you think? Maybe it closed during the pandemic.
No, it's still open. I checked recently. It's still open.
Yeah. Yeah. So Damian, sorry for those. For Harukoma is a sushi place that I found out. I don't know how I found out, but I brought Marianne to, and it has. I don't think it's the best sushi in the world, but it is definitely the most value for sushi. Like you order like unagi or like otoro or like uni, and then you look at the price, you're like, this price you can't even. I don't know, in Singapore you can't even find for like regular maguro, like normal tuna. Maybe that price you can't even find. Wow. But here it's like a whole tray of.
Yeah, like
and then like
a tray. Singapore you get like 2 servings, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you get like 5 or 6 or something.
Oh,
yeah, and then it was so good that actually I think when Marv went with, you went with Kwan, right?
I went with my cousin, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think they went once, and then they were debating whether to go back again because they wanted to keep the memory.
No, it was my cousin and my wife who didn't want to go back. They were like, no, we can't go back. We need to keep like the memory of this awesome place.
I'm like, are you crazy?
Then me and my cousin's wife were like, y'all stay at home, we go, yeah.
Yes.
You guys are crazy. It's like, and then the thing is that when you first go there, like to any restaurant, you try everything.
We tried like
right?
a variety of things. So
you try a lot.
We went, we just went like the good stuff.
Yeah.
Like
you just choose the stuff you like. Yeah. So you just go for that. So I would say, Osaka is really nice, but I would say Osaka is a city. Like it's very happening. So you should try to go to like do all the izakayas and and all the food places. Like the temple stuff is not very important in Osaka. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Osaka people are way more friendly.
Oh,
So that's something I didn't really know, that like Kansai, which is the area that Osaka, Kyoto is in, they're like separate from, they're like a more lively people compared to the Tokyo and Tohoku. Like my region, Tohoku, they are well known as the cold people.
really?
Kokoro, like they are very hardened because of the people say historically because of the weather is bad here. Yeah, so doors are always closed. People don't talk to each other much. Yeah. So Osaka is like a good starting point for people because people are generally a bit more friendly. So after that, you're going to Kyoto, right, Marv?
I said I'll do day trips to Kyoto lah, cause I'm staying in.
You're just staying in Osaka.
Yeah, and it's quite
Yeah.
nearby, right?
Are you going to Universal Studios?
Haven't decided, but we're definitely going to Disneyland. When we're in Tokyo.
Disneyland Sea. Disney
Probably,
Sea,
yeah.
right?
We've been
Yeah.
to Disney Sea twice lah, so we might go to Disneyland instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for the big cities, the main thing is just food. I can't think of like something in Osaka or Kyoto or Tokyo that I'm like, oh, you must go there and see this, because like the scenery is so amazing. But what I would say is that if you want to see scenery, you should come to Tohoku, where I am. But you need to rent a car, because the places that I'm in, you could take trains too, but it's very expensive. Like just taking trains all the time is expensive. You might as well just rent a car. It's just faster and way more convenient to drive. So there are a lot of onsens, famous mountains. I mean, Japan is just land of mountains. There are mountains everywhere. So I think Marv is also coming to Sendai for a while. I think she's coming to visit me.
I'll stay the week.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So excited. Do you plan on traveling at all, Damian?
I do. In fact, I was thinking of going to Japan, but I'm not really sure when I'll do it. Definitely next year. This year's a bit too tight. Yeah, I'll reach out to you guys. I mean,
yeah. Let me know when you come, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you when's a good
There's
time to
lots
come
of
as well.
Food recommendations for sure.
Yeah.
awesome.
And seasons wise, when to go.
Nice.
If you want to see certain things, you should come during these certain things.
Yeah.
That's basically about all I have. Anything else you guys want to chat about or talk about?
No, I'm good.
No.
I'm good,
If
man.
not, it was really fun to have you along, Damian.
Yes.
Talking about FF14 fantasy.
I had to run off because Meredith's leg got stuck in her cot.
What?
You know the
Oh no,
the bug.
Oh, yeah.
it's a bit here already.
No,
you haven't buy it?
End of the month.
Okay,
End of the
but
month,
the
yeah.
bit, no chance of getting stuck, right?
No
The bit.
chance. More likely she will fall off the bed, then she'll get stuck.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she
Stuck on the
shoved her
floor.
leg, then her knee went past the
Ooh.
railings.
So
then
you
got
got
stuck.
you got.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
I used some soap and then managed to slip it.
Wow, so extreme that you have to use soap.
Yeah,
Ah.
it was stuck. It was stuck very badly.
Oh, was she crying?
Yeah, she was crying lah. That's why. I
Yeah.
Oh
called her.
no,
Yeah.
poor girl.
But Shirley didn't know.
Okay.
She's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah,
She's
she's
ready.
now is she ready?
I think so.
Papa, my savior, thank you for saving me from the evil cot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, for those of you who have not followed us yet, follow us on Instagram, follow us on
Facebook. Twitch,
Facebook, and
YouTube.
on Twitch and YouTube. Yeah. If not, thank you guys for coming, and thank you guys for listening. This has been episode 23 of the Two Gamer Dads podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
You guys. Bye.